I will say in that game, despite Jensen having an incredible individual performance, Team Liquid did look less comfortable though, because it was such a different style, right? They didn't have that Azir or Orianna to kind of play front to back. You know, it is a different style of game that you have to play out. It's not just the change from Jensen, but Jensen was fantastic with the flanks in that game, finding good angles to get towards that back line. And it is in fact going to be that last pick Ornn here. So I will say I am pretty disappointed with the pick order from FlyQuest. I do think that there's no reason you can't just blind that and then allow PowerOfEvil to get a more preferential matchup. You know, perhaps he would have preferred the Orianna or something along those lines into the Akali. You know, it does generally deal with the Shroud a lot better. So yeah, that is something to consider, but good playmaking on CoreJJ. You know, he's going to be over on that Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank Thresh is an interesting matchup. You can actually try to time your hook. You know, when Thresh goes for a hook, you can hook in the Thresh and actually target him. So a lot of playmaking ability here, a lot of engage and dive for TL. They are moving outside their normal comfort zone in this first game against FlyQuest.
All right, well, champs are locked in. Jensen, the LCS leader in most games played on Akali. We're getting ready for game one. Let's get it started. Welcome to Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of this upper bracket final best of 5. The winner of this BO5, the first one to knock down 3 Nexi, will be in the LCS Summer Finals. They guarantee they will not be in the play-in stage at Worlds 2020, and they will not have to face TSM for the right to get back to the final itself. Loser, of course, is going to face TSM, and we'll see what happens with that one as they battle to secure second or third. We are onto the Rift here with fairly standard spread out teammates and opponents, and wait to see what comes out of this game.
So it is going to be Phase Rush Ghost Hecarim here. So he's going to be a very quick horse. There is some debate on should you be going Phase Rush, should you be going, you know, Conqueror or even Predator at times. Some people do go towards. I think Phase Rush is just incredibly strong.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's something that not only has as the utility in combat, but people are really starting to recognize how strong it can be even defensively to play towards Vision. You know, if you are this Hecarim and you're going to lose out in an extended 1v1 against the Sett, you can still move into the river, try to sweep out wards or place down wards of your own. And if you do run into him, you can use the Phase Rush for retreat. So it has a lot of utility there. Broxah just going to be starting here over on the Raptors. You can do this solo start very, very easily. Because of the AoE of Hecarim, you have a really strong clear on all of these multi-target camps, you know, getting that burn down with a talisman and keeping yourself fairly healthy.
Yeah, pretty easy stuff for him. So very momentary farm lead here as Santorin is going to say, yep, we cleared the ward. He thumbs up, says, yeah, if you could see me, you would know, but you can't, so I'm going to take this blue buff here. And there is no way of knowing this because of the sweep, because the very minor leash. They can tell that solo leash topside. They can know that this is where Santorin started in the jungle, but that he ran immediately to blue is only going to be a guess. You can see question mark pings right now from the Team Liquid side in the eastern jungle saying, well, if he's normal pathing, he might be red to blue. Of course, early game Sett is a single target camp champion. He wants to do red-blue Gromp, but he's doing red-blue enemy Gromp.
So something that I really want to point out here, so FlyQuest has been so good with their level 1s and their pre-game planning. This is another instance of that because as you say, you know, not only is it that you would have to guess on the side of TL where he was, they had a ward in the Tri-Brush in the river that would have actually covered that path. And then at the timing where Broxah could have snuck around that ward and gone down through the bottom lane Tri-Brush up towards the blue buff, IgNar moved out of lane immediately to put a ward there. So they knew exactly where Broxah could have come from, what timings he could have been there at, and because of that, Santorin has full knowledge that he stole away those camps. All of his camps are still remaining, and they will get a significant lead off of, again, really smart pathing from Santorin, really clever early game planning and warding. Yes, those wards did not come into play this game, but they had both sides, both exits and paths that Broxah could have possibly used, and that just speaks to how intelligent they are with these early game jungle starts.
And Team Liquid don't technically know yet this has happened. They still have not seen those two camps or seen any wards in Santorin. They will figure it out eventually, and you know, it's not like he's down in camps, right? Broxah's gotten a recall off and is down at most one camp. Now sees they're gone and says, hey, at some point this guy around and took my top jungle. He's got his chickens back. The Krugs are coming fairly soon. This is not going to be a death sentence for Broxah. He's, again, down a camp while getting a recall off. He's totally fine overall, but this is the state we are in right now where Santorin got to get the camps he wanted.
And the lead will extend from here, right? You know, once you clear out these camps and you start having nothing to do as the jungler, that is when Sett is going to be pulling ahead, because Sett is going to have extra camps remaining on his side of the map. He also has more options on where he would go. But Santorin still not recalling. He's actually just sneaking down here on the bottom lane.
They didn't see him with Hawkshot. This is the play. This is the play. Can they get it? No. But it was a nice try. There's maybe you flash play and Hook. They're going to go for the flash shot. They're going to go for every play right now to CoreJJ. Hook is down, though, which means all they're going to get is his flash. Couple of autos won't gonna land. WildTurtle cannot land the Q on his target, and CoreJJ will walk out, only burning flash and heal for 3 summoners on the FlyQuest side.
Yeah, very well done. They're able to survive that gank, but I still think it was a worthwhile attempt from FlyQuest, because had that Piltover Peacemaker actually connected, I do believe it gets the killing blow on CoreJJ. So, you know, very aggressive pathing here. You know, unlikely that you would expect Sett down there at that timing. They didn't spot him with the Hawkshot. They didn't really know where he was, and he hadn't even recalled yet. So, you know, does get a little bit of a farm advantage. Is able to blow some of the summoners down there.
Yeah.
And critically, you're still going to be pretty happy with the trade overall, because both the flashes are available there for WildTurtle and IgNar. And this is going to mean CoreJJ can't really play aggressively or posture aggressively whatsoever in this 2v2 now.
I do want to point out that it feels like there was some level of miscommunication on the FlyQuest side, because if you have 3 forms of CC with, you know, Sett and Thresh and the exhaust, a Caitlyn trap better land at some point, and it felt like none of them ever did. So I'm not sure if they were on cooldown, if they got pulled out of range or what, but I would have liked to see that happen. If he lands a single trap, Core is always dead, so unfortunate to see that one. Regardless, we can take a look at the various lanes. As you mentioned, the jungle difference will grow over time. Santorin got a gank off and his own first recall, and he's up a camp right now with very little left for the Hecarim to do. He'll cycle back to his chickens pretty soon. In the mid lane, we've got equal farm between these laners, both of them level 6, and in the top lane, pretty much the exact same boat here. So very, very close game 1, somewhat as expected. And we'll see if FlyQuest, who are the kings of First Blood, can get that happen in this game again.
So something interesting to note about this mid lane matchup is even when Akali goes into the Shroud, you know, if you hit her with your Q, it does give you that little shadow reveal, and then you can actually try to auto her by autoing a minion and then having the soldier stab through in that small line AoE to actually connect with Akali. So, you know, there are some ways to attack the Akali with the Azir in this matchup, even when she's in the Shroud. Akali also has to be worried about any potential Azir ultimate to scoop her out of the Shroud. FlyQuest, though, on this Dragon. Looks like they'll be able to finish it before TL gets here.
4v4. Jensen just TV'd back in, and they're going for the play. We've got Shen coming to the top as well. It's going to be a 5-on-5 already. Broxah getting low, though, has to get right back away as more healing comes through. But now the Ornn signals is going to find one target. Core cannot get away easily. Hooks in one, gets some health. It's going to be first blood in first for FlyQuest. Solely needs a single auto attack and cannot get it. He flashed in and could not find Broxah. So it is a 2-for-1 as Team Liquid have found a second kill in this fight, and now FlyQuest are forced one away. PowerOfEvil does get himself back out, but it is 2 deaths. Santorin and Solo both dropping in the FlyQuest side.
Broxah with just a hair of HP there, barely able to escape. We'll see if Jensen can sidestep this hook.
Good hook from Fog. Going to be an easy play set up there as well. A lot of CC. Jensen tries to jump backwards. 2 autos will kill and turns invisible just in time to walk away, but that is TP down. No easy way to sustain that one.
It did seem like Impact had a misclick on this, because he actually ulted the Blitzcrank, I do believe, instead of the Hecarim, who was diving forward. And I think this fight could have looked pretty different had he had the ult. Yeah, there's the ultimate right onto CoreJJ. You want that on the Hecarim. I mean, the Hecarim is diving the backline. Immediately, Broxah is pushed out because he doesn't have that Stand United. And there's also not a good position for Impact to get that immediate taunt off. So FlyQuest go forward. A good turnaround, though, from TL. Broxah barely able to escape that last auto attack. not quite getting enough damage down to finish him off, and Tactical and Jensen were getting a lot of damage out in the meantime. So TL come away from that with a slight gold advantage, but first blood on the Azir. Dragon over to FlyQuest. I think they're going to be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, the Dragon is actually pretty good for the early game as well. When you're
they have arrow.
Our longest good flash by Turtle gets it down in time, and now Team Liquid, can you be answered to? There's the flash in for the flay. Tactical is slowed, exhausted. Nice stun coming through. That's going to be 1 kill, and CoreJJ will it be the next one? About 3 seconds of the next crowd control is up. Core is still running, and they want this dive. There's the flay, there's the punch, there's the 2 kills, the bot lane, and FlyQuest strike back.
Great job there from IgNar, finding the flash flay. Yes, the flash was forced off of Turtle with a really nice arrow there from Tactical because he hit level 6 on the timing. IgNar was not with him. But because TL went aggressive towards Turtle, trying to exploit the fact that IgNar was in the river, it gave an easy in for FlyQuest. Santorin was pathing down there. IgNar finds the angle with the flash flay plus Lantern. And once they're up on top of the Ashe, as well as that flashless blitz, just not much of an option for them to really turn around and fight that.
Doing some damage back and forth, grasp created by both top laners, and ultimately Impact gets some decent damage with Demolish. Of course, Ornn is not terribly threatening, gets to knock down a turret plate up on that side of the map. I believe that is the first turret plate of the game, which Impact graciously got for himself up there after TPing back the top lane. After that bot lane fight, close game overall, 100 gold separates these teams. A bit of extra farm on some sides. You can see 11 CSD in the top lane, answered a little bit now. As the second round of the jungle camps are up, blue buff is here, delayed a little bit, but will be handed over to Jensen. Gotta say, it does feel good to have blue on Hecarim. Just doesn't need it quite so badly on Akali, but it's still gonna help the lane.
The energy regen, I think, sometimes is underrated on these types of champions because Akali does, until you get presence of mind stacks on Akali, your energy is pretty low, and you don't always have the ability to kind of spam out the Qs to actually match the wave clear of someone like the Azir. So this is going to help him out a fair bit, and Broxah should be okay without that mana. He has some flat mana from the Shen he purchased early on. It's also going to help his burst, and he is over on this Rift Herald, but has been spotted by a ward. I don't think he knows that's there, though.
I think he tried to sweep for it. We saw him walk back and pop Squire's Bloom, but it might not matter. IgNar's around. Of course, this man roams 24/7. Tactical's actually already left the bottom lane, so bot lane is going to have no one in it, and TL's going to have to answer to this. There's an entire wave or two it's going to be lost. It's going to be an easy turret plate for WildTurtle. They can see Jensen. They, of course, can see Broxah, so they know he is safe. They know only eventually the bot lane can show up, and so Turtle is going to get 2 plates for this one. The actual cannon is gone. And Team Liquid roamed Ashe up to maybe contest for the Rift Herald and lost about 2 waves and 2 plates because of it.
Yeah, exactly. When you actually add up all the gold that they lost from the waves, plus the experience that they lost, plus those 2 plates, you're expecting to get about 2 plates, 2.5 plates with that Rift Herald, but Turtle has already gotten that in solo gold on the Caitlyn, so to me that's already more valuable. Then when you add in the cannon and then the experience and from the minions that was actually lost, I think it becomes even more so. Yes, there's that little bit of gold you get for killing off the Herald, but unless TL can get more, CoreJJ.
A lot of CC, pretty easy hits there. Flash over the wall. Hook is going to pull in Santorin, but he's going to be tanky. Puts on the shield. Shen coming back over. That means the flash away to stay alive. Health bar low. No more CC available onto him. Santorin's going to just get away from this one. Ultimately trading cooldowns back and forth. And the Shen ulti, by the way, was canceled. Didn't need to do it. They could have left him down in bot lane, but Solo went for the cancel. They didn't know he needed to do that. Now Broxah onto the bottom side. Atlanta's going to answer that one.
Just drops down that Lantern, and then Broxah knows there's not much point in overcommitting there. Could get turned around on. He is very squishy still at this point. So, yeah, it's always tough, right? Like, generally speaking, when you see the stand united, unless you have full knowledge that it's going to be 100% one fight on the other side of the map, you just want to interrupt it, right? Yep. And I think that's kind of the safest play there from Solo. Yes, if you know for sure that you're going to be able to win the fight and that you're going to be able to get away from the Shen, then you can just let it go through. But if it goes through and he gets a flash taunt, they get multiple kills, it can be pretty devastating. So you would need like perfect communication.
Yet you really can't fault players for that one. Theoretically, it's doable, but either way, it is still a decent play overall, and you can't fault someone for stopping a Shen ult. Like, in general, you never really complain for that one.
You can, but you might be wrong.
Exactly. Even if you had perfect communication, there's still a world where it was the right play regardless. So we move on, and we see the bot lane has been pushed in. Of course, Turtle, very comfortable item situation. Really feels good to have Zerk Greaves in your 2 big BF, or your two first attack damage components. That's going to feel really nice. So Turtle's on a good power spike. Tactical is kind of between recalls. You can see his inventory value is more than 1,000 less, and that's going to feel pretty bad. And so, look at this. Drake number 2 is available. Power spikes are in. Nashor's Tooth complete. No Shen ulti up. TP for solo, but not for impact. For the next 20 seconds, this is uncontestable.
Yeah, and TL actually committed the Rift Herald there mid lane to try to get priority on the Dragon Pit, but they're still just going to lose the Dragon. So you're not able to actually get really much of anything from that. They did get the 2 plates, of course, and that was
danger.
Jensen.
Oh my gosh, he predicted a flash or a jump backwards, and that is such danger. But Turtle is going to stay alive. They're on the front line. Aftershock turns off. Here comes the dive in the back line. Nice double stun comes through. Can they keep him alive? They dunk one more as well, and Turtle just cannot be caught. The shell of his team is too strong. IgNar gets away with the flash as well. Summoners are burned. Flash is the same, but it's another kill for FlyQuest.
Wow, very close to taking down both of the FlyQuest bottom lane, but they get neither of them. And the Stand United being forced earlier ends up being so relevant there. As Impact can't just TP in the face of Solo, he would have had to back it up if he wanted to try to go for that. And maybe they made the call that it's actually better to have both these members out of the fight and look for the 4v4. But in the end, FlyQuest gets another Dragon here and does get away with it, not losing anyone in the process. So very well done by them. And a really pretty interesting stat that I actually found, while digging a bit into Dragon Soul, is that all of the 4 remaining playoff teams coming to this weekend, so TSM, C9, as well as FlyQuest and TL, none of them have lost a game where they have a 3-0 Dragon lead. And FlyQuest is approaching that. It's obviously partially due to the fact that if you're able to get access to the Dragons, you may already be winning. But it's also, I think, due to the fact that Dragons force you to take fights that you don't otherwise want to take. But we'll have to pause that as TL may have found a pick here.
All right, IgNar plays backwards. Aftershock gets some durability. He is flashless, though, and still being chased. And a 1v4 is not a kill you can give away. Jensen gets to secure the last hit. The team stops hitting. And 300 more gold in the mid laner there as Jensen's got a good start. 2-0-1 on Akali.
I gotta say, that is a weird place for him to be. Like, look at where everyone else is on the map, right? Turtle's going topside, and maybe he was trying to get some vision down for the Ornn before the lane swap came through. But it does seem strange with Dragon not up for 3 minutes to actually be playing around in that river without vision, with no one from your team even on that side of the map. So gives up a pretty easy kill over to Jensen, who is a very dangerous person to be giving kills to. If Akali gets too far ahead, you can really dominate the game. Talked about the fact that Jensen was popping off in his last Akali game against the Mortals. Yep. You do not want to put him in a position where he can just one combo your backline.
TP topside. I'm not sure Turtle can really beat Impact here. Titanic Hydra is done. He's not going to kill him ever. He's going to try to kite around with the traps, but easy taunt going to land. Gets the slow pull through as well. Huge damage. One out will kill him. He's got to get away. Santorin's here. Just in time. Impact flash for absolutely nothing, except that Broxah is now here as well. The dynamic duo comes through, and they find a kill on Caitlyn.
Yeah, you are not winning that 1v1 against the Titanic Hydra. Shen, your dueling is so strong at this point in the game. If you can get up on top of that Caitlyn, land the taunt, it's pretty much lights out for Turtle. Was a nice bit of peeling, though, from Santorin, and Broxah did have to finish that off himself. But either way, it does at least cost them the TP and the flash.
We keep moving on as the blue buff's going to be started now and handed off to Jensen. This is Team Liquid fighting close. They are down 2 Drakes. The next one spawns in just 100 seconds. And a 500 gold lead to Team Liquid says, well, I'm not sure they're winning on the scoreboard. It's going to be close, though, overall. Hook's going to look towards the top side. Not going to find it, though, as support's roaming around. Top lane has moved around as well. We've got Solo walking over towards mid, maybe just clearing wards, but has temporarily departed bot lane as bot lane outer turret is gone. That is part of that gold lead that TL have. Looking at maybe a play towards mid, which there isn't one.
Yep, I like the roam from Solo. That, there's not a bottom lane tower for actually him to defend, so he's not going to lose all his minions on that roam. And I think he was just trying to defend against any sort of possible Hecarim and Blitz move down towards the mid lane. So covering PowerOfEvil doesn't end up actually losing anything on that bottom side. So back down to the bottom lane, and that's one of those kind of little moves that goes unseen a lot of the time that can make a big difference.
Yeah, because sometimes, 1 in 10 games, you get a kill out of that one because of an overstep or a lack of wards, whatever, and in the 9 out of 10, you lost nothing anyway. So it's the right play to go for, and if it works, great, you're awesome. You get another kill, you get, some extra map control, some extra gold. Team Liquid going to go ahead and knock down the second Rift Herald, so 100% control over that one, as FlyQuest have 100% control over Drake so far. We'll see the next contest in 35 seconds. Shirelia's Reverie now done for the Thresh for more engaged tools. Over on the Team Liquid side, Gunblade haunting guys. Merc trades in for the mid laner. Sunfire Gate pretty far away for Impact right now. Trinity Force not yet done for Broxah, doing the standard build of skipping Warrior and finishing Triforce as soon as he can. Does have a bunch of armor stack with the Ninja Tap he done early on. Survives the Caitlyn, but not much else with it.
So this is where I wanted to kind of quickly talk about the dragon thing. With that third dragon spawning, TL is essentially forced to contest this, whether they want to or not, because you don't want to give up soul point this early. And what that means is sometimes you have to take fights that you are not prepared for, that maybe you don't have the correct vision for. TL does still have Jensen up on that top side. He has the TP though, and they're dropping Rift Herald mid. They are going to TP in and try to fight it.
They should be looking for this. They should put a trap down if they can. They shuffle him backwards, but not outside the shroud. So he's not going to be put down. Now Shen will go over the top. A stun's going to come through, but it's not going to matter. As a squad comes through, Santorin gives his life, tries to flash away, and he might just make it out as the Akali comes in, but doesn't have the energy for a final Q. A snipe won't get the kill. Impact blocks that one, but a hook over the wall finds Solo. Tried to immune with W, but they waited till it timed out. So a 1-for-0, and Team Liquid found the flank play, they found a kill, and they found the fight they wanted. Drake is theirs.
That ward over the wall there pretty much just won them the fight and the dragon. So critically, FlyQuest was not able to sweep all those out. They weren't able to cover behind them for any sort of flank ward. You kind of had to expect that Jensen would be looking for some sort of a play like that, but FlyQuest obviously didn't have the information on where it would be coming from. And there was so much attention drawn by Jensen in that fight, as well as Impact when he stand United's in, that PowerOfEvil and WildTurtle really weren't getting much done. Because you can't just walk through the Shroud and ignore the Akali. You'll just die to the Akali. So you essentially end up getting stuck in this position where after they didn't sweep Akali out of the Shroud, you have to just wait around till it ends. Which means that Tactical and Broxah and everyone else on TL is really getting a lot of damage out during that time, and you're pretty much doing nothing.
Alrighty, well. Now you've got Team Liquid feeling really comfortable though. 2,300 gold lead. All 3 outer turrets got claimed. You know, we had a stat that said, hey, there's a team in playoffs that hasn't killed or lost a turret all playoffs long in the first 15 minutes. That was Team Liquid. I believe this is still the case. The turret died after plates fell by quite a bit down in bot lane. Mid fell, top fell, and look at this. Look at the gold lead, 2,500, feeling very comfortable now. They're not worried about dragons anytime soon. They are stacking the Infernal Drakes, and FlyQuest have to know about the comeback in this game. They do.
FlyQuest does have really good scaling, though, and good 5v5, so they have the ability to sit back and to withstand some of this. You know, Team Liquid is miles away from a soul, so that is not yet a concern. But we will see if TL can continue to extend the advantage, because they have incredible dive, incredible engage. If you can actually find Turtle, you know, pre-QSS, he's basically just dead to any sort of an Ashe arrow or engage that does find him. With Hecarim Shen combo going in, Akali to follow that up, it is really tough to itemize, you know, appropriately to survive both, because without any MR, you may just get one shot by the Akali, but at the same time, you know, things like the Hex Shrinker aren't going to really help you out that much against all the damage that Hecarim can put through.
And we'll see. I mean, backline access can always be scary, and sometimes people get bursted out, so we'll see what they can do about this one as we look around for the next part of this game. Of course, it's 21 minutes in, so Baron is alive, and that means Team Liquid, who are in the driver's seat now, especially CoreJJ. He sounds the horn. He walks into the jungle. Wow, look at that. He actually did sound the horn.
I was like, are you ahead of me? What's happening here?
No, I was like, I mean, just he was a car. Like, it was there in the driver's seat, then I saw like a car skin, and I was like, well, he's got a horn when he presses W, and then he did it, and I was like, yes.
Is that like the caster blessing, the opposite of the caster curse?
Yeah. You will press W at some point, CoreJJ. I got it right! He pressed his buttons!
He's a witch!
Special.
All right. Well, we have
put some words down.
Team Liquid into this 1-3-1. They are looking for an Ashe arrow, perhaps, over on a turtle. Remember, no QSS, no cleanse, so Ashe arrow can be pretty devastating. But for now, it feels like they're pretty happy to just move out into this 1-3-1, and then when someone answers the side lanes, they can move in and get vision. They see Azir up on that top side, so TL move Jensen down. They have a 4-man squad around Baron, and this is kind of the advantage that they are trying to get. By forcing people to answer those side lane waves, they know that they have a numbers advantage, which nets them vision control. And this is kind of that slow, methodical gameplay that TL is very well known for. They're really good with their vision control. They're really good at slowly squeezing out small advantages and generally just playing very risk averse. So they often kind of put the pressure on their opponents simply by, you know, not giving up big mistakes and saying, all right, you need to force something. You need to be the ones that make something happen. And then from those positions, TL usually just wins the team fights.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the number 1 and number 2 CS per minute players in the LCS are Team Liquid's mid and bottom laner. They are pretty far ahead of everyone else for 3rd and 4th and beyond, and like this team just farms very well. They earn all their gold. They contest once they finally have to, but they are very consistent.
Risk-averse.
Yeah. I mean, both things, really. They're risk-averse and consistent about it. That, you know, they end up making the right choice in the long term, and they end up coming out ahead. This is, again, Team Liquid off their best split ever so far. This is sort of objectively true when you look at records. This is their best split ever. And they're coming off of a beginning of an undefeated run through playoffs so far. They're looking at a 4-0 so far as a road into the finals. We'll see if that's going to continue on, but it may well happen here as next Drake spawns in 30 seconds. This is the TL game plan. Since the last Drake spawn, where they got that 1 kill, they finished the other 2 turrets and then waited for Drake number 4.
Yep, and things are looking pretty good for them, but still, they do have to be careful because, you know, if you look for that sort of engage or flank on the Akali and you do get scooped out of the Shroud, there is a high amount of damage between the Azir and Caitlyn. There's incredible scaling there. There's a lot of frontline in CC, but IgNar gets caught out. He's just dead again.
Immediately gone, no CC for the Aftershock, and that is suddenly a 5v4 at the perfect time. Goodbye, Drake number 2 is TL's.
Nice pick there, honestly. They just find him moving up, try to get some vision. And they're going to get an easy kill, an easy dragon. That's going to mean FlyQuest pushed back here once more. We'll have to give up more map control. But the Ornn items are starting to come through. You can see the Molten Edge there for WildTurtle. The Large Rod picked up for PowerOfEvil, so he's going to be working towards a death cap. That can get upgraded, and you start to really erase some of that gold lead with the additional stats that Ornn is going to be bringing for you. But it's going to come down to execution. TL has the ability to find a lot of picks. They have the ability to dive, to flank. And FlyQuest is going to have to be really, really careful about that because anytime you don't have vision and are playing against Blitzcrank, it is really tough to go anywhere on the map and feel safe.
And that's really what TL loves to do. I mean, and what's so great about CoreJJ is not only is he arguably the best player in the league. I mean, that's my vote for best player in the league. It's just like CoreJJ is absurd, but he's kind of everything he needs to be all in one package, right? He's got the Sightstone, he's got the Sweeper, he's got the control wards, and then he's the guy who puts the hook down. So he can kind of set up his own vision pocket without having to communicate, without having to rely on his teammates and say, okay, this is all darkness, come here, I'm gonna deliver you an IgNar real quick. Let me just grab you 300 gold. And he's just done that so incredibly well. His roaming is awesome. IgNar obviously a great roamer as well, but it feels like Core just never gets caught while doing so. Yeah. And IgNar sometimes a little bit too far forward, and some of that is Core's vision play.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, I mean, just look at the inventories on the two teams. Compare the amount of pink wards in inventory right now, right? It's a pretty stark difference. There's 3 sweepers over on TL, so they're very focused on vision denial, and they're sitting on 7 pink wards right now. 1 just got placed. You know, they had 8 previously. Should be able to back out of that, no problem. But, you know, that is a tremendous amount of emphasis on vision control. That speaks to a very clear game plan, something that has been emphasized by their coaching staff, who, you know, was coaching staff of the split in summer here. And, you know, they clearly are going to be willing to drop pink wards anytime they see any sort of ward plays, you know, deny that. They're trying to really focus on keeping these big pockets of darkness, places that CoreJJ knows he's not spotted and can look for hooks from, places that Tactical knows they cannot see him and he can look for these Ashe arrows. And that is really, really critical to their game plan, because if both teams can just see each other and you just walk straight forward in 5v5, Team Liquid does have, I think, a pretty big disadvantage in the comps.
Farming continues on as inventories continue to fill out here. 3rd item on the way for Tactical. Leandri's done, and the Void Staff isn't too far away for Jensen.
They just can't walk in, though. Like, they don't know where Blitz is, and they know that he could be over the wall. If you step forward to try to kill that, you just get hooked in, you're dead. So, like, look how far back Team Liquid has pinned them at this point. It's honestly pretty impressive, and they kind of have to wait till they see more people on the waves. They're using Santorin, which, this is pretty smart, honestly. They send in Santorin first, and then if you have IgNar behind him, instead of him being the one to check, then he can always be there with that lantern.
Yeah, put up the shield, ult if he has to, grab the lantern afterwards. He's going to be okay overall. The squad is there, and no problems here. Level 16 in for Impact. First to do that before Solo is a bit of damage towards the front line.
Broxah's looking to go.
Up. Can't find it yet. Broxah, yeah, waiting around on the wings. Jensen nearby as well. Solo has beholden himself over, but ultimately there isn't a play to be had. Tactical can easily flash out from the ulti of Solo. Nothing to be picked up there. And just waiting for the scaling to keep on going. As you mentioned a while ago, FlyQuest scaling pretty solid. We're waiting for the last few Ornn upgrades. Death cap is maybe about 1,000 gold away till that one's in there. NLR should come in before too long for PowerOfEvil. And that'll be a nice one. As you mentioned, the Molten Age is done. WildTurtle going for a lower DPS build. Just wants to get the individual autos. The ability to like hit Jensen once and back out can sometimes be useful, but standing and fighting, of course, nice when you're hitting a Shen. So we'll see how that one plays out over time. He's moving on towards his third item regardless.
And I feel like in a lot of these fights, he's probably going to be spending a lot of time running anyway. So,
right.
You know, maybe emphasizing the added range that the rapid fire can give you if you think that you're only going to get an auto here, an auto there, and you're going to be fleeing from this Hecarim Akali Shen combo. That can definitely make some sense, and it did help him to siege in that mid lane tower as well. You know, anytime he could just step up and get that kind of safer long range auto. So, you know, both have their merit. Nice sidestep.
Yep, not window shopping. It's a nice thing is that, you know, it's also a mirror, that sort of planar portal, so he looks back and there's an arrow coming, sidestep. You know, it really helps. So like, imagine League the first person shooter. Yeah, you just get screwed over by the recall animation. This one can see behind it, the other one can't. Wow, broken.
Yeah, Turtle's just playing Valorant, first person.
Yeah, I mean, he's Cypher, right? He's just like, oh, no, I was in the camera the whole time. I saw this coming, no big deal. We're hopped out, easy headshot, we're done. It's the right character for it anyway. I'm glad, by the way, that Scream is a Valorant player now, because 3 or 4 years ago, I did a play-by-play call where I said someone got more headshots than Scream. People were like, I didn't know Freak played CS, and now he's a Valorant player. Now it's a Valorant reference. It's perfect.
Shout out from yourself to yourself.
Shout out from myself to myself from the past.
That's a self high five.
Which is very...
It's a very you move.
That's a very me move. It's Pulse Fire Caitlyn, okay? It's a past shout out.
Did you hear that great play-by-play that I made? It was awesome.
Yeah, and I was actually just teasing the first person shooter that Riot made. I wasn't actually. I don't even think I knew back then.
On to the game, though. Yes. For a dragon.
Important best of 5. Dragon's live in 7 seconds. We're back on track now. Infernal Drake number 3 is spawning. An Impact on the other side of the fight's going to get chased out. No easy CC onto him, though. He's going to walk away, no problem. Jensen on that side of the fight as well. So FlyQuest bundled together. Team Liquid on the flanks. Melee's on one side. Melee's on the other. Really, the only ranged champion is Tactical here, and it's going to force them back into their own jungle. At what point do FlyQuest stand their ground? Slow into Impact, jump over the wall for IgNar. He's at half health. Flash for the fly. The stun comes in as well. Here comes the backline dive. But enough time has been bought. A nice stun comes across from the top laner as well. Here comes the dive in for Broxah. Gets feared up. Will be knocked down. 1 for 0. And WildTurtle is healthy. He's going for Core next up as well. Gets over the arrow. Here comes the snipe. And Shen's going to save him. Is there anything more now as IgNar wants to bring the team in, but not just yet. It's going to be pushed out of the base, and that's going to be the time to push in now for the Drake number 3. Glad for FlyQuest.
Comes Ornn.
And Ornn is in. Solo gets an easy slow. The flash away for Tactical. And a slow down there as well. Core's going to find a hook. And he brings in more than he bargained for. PowerOfEvil takes him down. And IgNar's going to stay alive. That's 3. That's 4. That is all 5. Jensen forced one away. He's going to TP in for some heroics. Can he defend a 1v5?
He does have the ult and the flash, but it seems extremely risky. You should only go for this if you're essentially making the decision that you lose the game if you give up the Baron. So Jensen will back it up. FlyQuest played that beautifully, hard engaging towards one side of the split TL. TL have their solos on one side, so they go for the hard engage over here, moving away from Tactical and Broxah, engaging in, and then look at that ultimate, sweeping Jensen out of the Shroud. Now check out the positioning. Look where Turtle and PowerOfEvil are. Yes, the front line of FlyQuest has taken a lot of damage, but the damage dealers are untouched. Turtle flashing aggressively forward over top of that Ashe arrow. The Stand United barely saving CoreJJ before that ultimate did come through, but the chase continued as Solo back to base, had the home guards, forces out the flash, then landing a beautiful knock-up, and at the same time, IgNar getting hooked in just gives the Lantern extra range for PowerOfEvil. That is not what CoreJJ wanted.
Betrayer hook.
FlyQuest get everything. 5-0 on the Azir now. He has that upgraded death cap. The Rabadon's death crown comes through. He even gets the tier 2 boots, the stopwatch. This Azir is disgustingly strong.
Okay, well, they're onto the red buff here. Hook's not quite going to land as he's going to move around, but Santorin wants in. Ornn signal. They're going to go for no knockups just yet. Santorin flashes in for 1, looks for more, gets the punch. Goes for the dunk, maybe. The scoop backwards for PoE, but he's going to lose his life. It's a 1-for-1, but that is a trade TL will take into the loser jungler as well. The squishy horse is gone. Turned his hooves into glue and FlyQuest into the bot lane.
And there's just no wave clear now, really, for TL, because Akali is split pushing, isn't going to have much safe wave clear anyway, and because they got those 2 kills, it's just Tactical as well as Impact here. Turtle should be able to safely siege from this position. We'll see how much they can get. There's still about 20 seconds on both these members, so I think they should at least be able to take down this inhibitor.
Pretty easy siege in the 4v3. Jensen chose to recall to defend, and he could have gone for top lane.
Impact's in
Could
trouble.
have chosen to kill the turret. Instead, defends an inhibitor that is going to die. However, support is back alive, so it's a full-on 4v4 right now. Is this a play that can happen? Is it a work that may come through? No, the whole squad is split up too much. Jensen chose to defend the base instead of taking a turret. At the end of the day, he gets nothing for it, and the risk does not pay off.
It's tough because maybe they were thinking they could play right on that line where they could lose the inhibitor tower but still defend the tower, the turret rather itself. So here is that initial engage. Tactical has no flash, so Santorin willing to flash in for him. Then the big commitment is PowerOfEvil flies in for the scoop, but he gets feared up by Broxah's ultimate. So great turn there by Broxah from the Hecarim. Not able to get the stopwatch off on his Azir because he was CC'd by that Hecarim ultimate. And they do get the shutdown over onto Azir, but in the end, it is still the bottom lane inhibitor tower and inhibitor itself falling for FlyQuest. They are really taking full control over this map. There's still the outer tower up in that top lane to grab, so they should be able to get that despite the fact that the Baron buff is going to fall off.
But all that Baron has done is equalize the gold. Team Liquid had done so much work in the mid game. You can see that FlyQuest are up 3 kills and a turret, and their lead is just cresting over 1,000. Now 2K with the second turret going down now as well. Team Liquid have been farming incredibly well. You can see leads in most roles down there, top and jungle especially the difference here. But Dragon Soul, right? That's coming up in a minute. Fourth Drake for FlyQuest would be Infernal Soul. It would be Burst. He would help them knock down Tactical in a chunked out fight. Otherwise, the squad is fairly tanky on the TL side.
Also, you gotta note, like the defensive itemization is making it harder, not just from WildTurtle and with stopwatch on PowerOfEvil. There's double locket here on tanks, so double locket is going to do a lot to actually protect against the dive here from Broxah, Jensen, and Impact. And if you can't burst down PowerOfEvil and Turtle, these fights become exceptionally difficult. They should have better sustained damage. And I really do like the choice in itemization, as a result. It's going to be more about keeping your backline alive than it is about getting that extra little bit of tankiness yourself. Solo now even completes the Knight's Vow, so even more protection here. Building these supportive items, I think, is going to do a lot for FlyQuest.
And here we go. Mid lane shoved in. 1,300 gold difference. Recalls coming through. This is going to be the fight. You talk about not being able to give up a Dragon Soul. This is the moment. Now TL and back on relatively equal footing. Baron buff is gone. No man's land here. Vision fought over. No arrow's going to land just yet. And here comes the engage. 5 on 5. You can see the ground right in front of them. Solo starts it up. Goes to the knock-up onto 2 on the bot lane of TL. Hecarim in the front. Not going to get the smite just yet. Dunks backwards. Going for the play now, but he burns a stopwatch. How about the re-engage with IgNar? Stone plate pop. There's the dragon picked up at a 1-for-0 so far. Created now back as well. 4v4. Front line is there. Taunt comes on to 3. And Akali wreaks some havoc. Jensen picks up a few. Turtle over the wall. Goodbye to the jungler. Dragon Soul be damned. TL going to take that fight.
Jensen and Impact come up huge there. It looks like a taunt flash coming through from Impact, catching the carries of FlyQuest, allowing the Akali to fly into that backline, take them down. It did look like FlyQuest had pretty good positioning, but that one misstep, grouping up a little bit too much with their core members, allowed them to take it back. But still, in the long run, it is FlyQuest who come away with the soul. A huge smite here as the dragon reset. And Broxah didn't have any ability to really burst it down. So TL are actually over onto IgNar while FlyQuest is taking down Broxah. And then watch Impact here. As PowerOfEvil and WildTurtle stack up, in goes Impact, flash taunt. Jensen flashes into the backline as well, has the R2 available for the execution. Absolutely erasing those two members with some tricky execution there. So much damage output by the TL carries in that one. And Team Liquid fighting to stay alive in this first game against that soul.
5,000 out of Jensen, 5,000 out of Tactical. Even Broxah pitched in a little bit. And now we can see what's going to happen next up. As well, Baron is alive. FlyQuest have some more damage, but the Dragon Soul does not keep PowerOfEvil alive against an Assassin. We have seen what Impact and Jensen have done together. And we'll see a re-engage towards Broxah now as well. Stuns come across. They try to find Akali. Can they scoop her out? They might be able to. And 1,000 gold goes to WildTurtle just in time to play for Baron.
And the Stand United is gone. There's no TP. They killed him through it, so they have no response here. It's a 3v5 for TL. Shen is not even moving.
Big hook, though, means they're going to find themselves a kill in an IgNar and FlyQuest. Okay, that's still a 4v4 where you are favored. Dead mid laner versus dead support, sure. But that pick is big for CoreJJ. It gives them the chance of maybe looking for the fight. They're not going to do so. No damage without Jensen. It means Baron is picked up. But it does mean that mid can be pushed in, bot can be pushed in, and Teal can play a little bit around this.
Yeah, that was so critical, though, being able to get Jensen out of the Shroud, burst him down, because killing him off there not only gives you that huge shutdown and eliminates a threat, but it eliminated impact from that, because TL was trying to play around the fact that they had the global advantage. Both of the top laners TP'd into that last fight, so TL has the Stand United edge. They are trying to make FlyQuest be the ones to start it up, but then Broxah gets caught here, Jensen over by him, and they just turn right onto Jensen as Broxah took the way out. He took that escape, but he gets knocked up by the ultimate, knocked against the wall by Solo, scooped out, and Turtle is able to burst him down before that Shen could come through, getting them another Baron here.
Okay, 2 Barons and a Dragon Soul. FlyQuest should be well and truly in the driver's seat. The problem is you just can't get enough tank stats for squishies to survive Assassins. Jensen can always be the playmaker here. Level 18s and all the relevant carries. Junglers and supports left to get some XP. Combined 5 levels to go in the jungle. 4 each for the supports. We'll see as Santorin sweeps out some wards. The mid lane siege can begin. Rapid Fire Cannon truly does shine here. Mortar Reminder in for the healing. That does exist a fair bit on Hecarim. Not just Death Dance. His W is absurd health per second in a real team fight, so fits a lot for killing that front line. See if that comes through before too terribly long. As well, we're going to see the wards come down. IgNar playing in the fog of war. They know control ward's there. Hawkshot's going to find. Arrow's going to find a bit more, but not enough for the kill. He walks back in time to not get arrowed in the face. And now with the turret gone, it's unlikely the TL can fight for this one. Bottom inhibitor is back up. Middle inhibitor will fall.
And TL don't have any sort of a flank. It's so tough to just walk straight at them as that Akali, Shen, Hecarim combo. You generally need to get some sort of a flank. There is that pink ward behind them they haven't seen. Woo! Nice Bellows Breath there to immune that hook, and they are now looking for this. So unless TL can get out behind them, they're just giving up this inhibitor. I think they need to have Jensen on an angle.
He's coming around the side, turns off some of the wards, but control still sees him. Lantern's there in case of some shenanigans, and end of the day, they defend an inhibitor proper. Now there's basically 2 waves left of Baron buff. This one, the next in 30 seconds, and have to believe this should be second inhibitor down. They'll be dead during the Elder Dragon spawn. Hook's not going to land. Solo walks to the front line, and FlyQuest still a bit afraid. Finally ults in. They find the knockup. They find some good damage. Tactical a bit low. Broxah at half, and the inhibitor finally falls. Jensen alone in the wings, though, can't easily set this one up as the inhibitors drop. And FlyQuest get the time to reset. 20 seconds left in the Baron buff. We got a TP at the top side. Impact wants to knock down a single turret before they have the next fight.
He will be able to do it, so it's the TP for that tower, and he's comfortable to do this because he still has the Stand United available, so not feeling like he can't expend that right now. I did really like how IgNar played out that full siege position, where he basically was the man just marking the Akali. He was constantly moving over towards the Akali, throwing every hook in the direction of Jensen, making it so that Jensen couldn't have an easy path in to get behind these guys. Now we'll see. Impact may be caught out here, and there's some low damage members over onto him.
Wants to buy some time. Flash to get away from the knockup, but Santorin can still find it. They're not going to find the Ornn horn, but they are going to find the rest of this one. As Impact is going to be slowed in place, scooped up towards the wall, and he is going to drop. PowerOfEvil gets the kill credit out of that one, as the snipe is going to be enough. So, look at the timer on this one. Elder Dragon in 23 seconds. Impact is out of all his major cooldowns. Broxah can wave clear. Tactical can wave clear, but the dead inhibitors will guarantee these turrets never fall. And so in a 5v4, it's time for FlyQuest to take their killing play.
That's Elder. Pretty much guaranteed, unless there's some sort of miracle play. Because remember, not only did he commit the teleport top, he tried to Stand United out of that situation. So he now has no globals available. So even if TL delay until he respawns, he would have to walk out there, which means there's no chance TL can delay that long. They are just going to have to completely give up the Elder. So it will be Elder plus Dragon Soul here now. And FlyQuest, this is your window to try to close the game. They're going to be about as strong as they can get right now. I want to see them pushing aggressively. You know, if you can go up towards that top side, you do have TP advantage over on Solo. He could just escort in minion waves around mid lane. Maybe try to look for a triple in him. But for now, they're actually just marching down mid. So I think it might be a little bit risky to just go straight for the Nexus turrets and try to end. I would prefer to see them playing around the top side minions, but no one's heading up there. So it looks like FlyQuest really does want to just try to force a fight and potentially end the game.
All right, 2 minutes on the Elder buff, and with the last 45 seconds, Baron will be alive. And all they do is shove in the mid lane, and they say, yeah, you know what? Turns out 6-item Ashe is just too much wave clear there. Impact is back alive. And I still want to reiterate, because the chance that a TL win is still here, none of the things FlyQuest are getting make their squishies live against assassins. Broxah, Jensen, Impact can absolutely destroy the bottom, destroy the backline rather. Baron gives you tech damage ability power. Elder Dragon gives you more damage. They don't give you a shield. They don't give you armor and MR. That avenue still exists. PoE could have 17 more death caps. It would still not change the fact that he could be one-shot by Jensen.
You know what they say,
bad
though,
situation. What?
The best defense is a strong offense. They can't
And
kill
so
you
far,
if they're dead. Look
the
at
offense
that
is good.
ultimate.
Yes, and this is why I don't like Zeals on Caitlyn, because you almost one-shot Ashe because of raw AD. It feels pretty good. Turret third inhib is gone, and it's going to be FlyQuest waiting a little bit longer. Now, the thing I want to also bring up is that the scaling is ending pretty soon. The gold lead's already fairly close. 4K is not bad at 43 minutes. But the AD carries have both been done for a while. Tactical sold boots before that inhib dropped. There's no scaling left for a lot of these players. It's just, okay, Baron setup. Okay, Solo's going to show in mid. Hawkshot sees us. Yes, we're indeed doing this. Great. Standard edit is back up, but hey, minions are flooding into your base, and it's time for the third Baron of the game for FlyQuest.
And they still have the Elder buff. That is really critical here. Shen is down on that bottom side. I don't think TL will be able to even contest. And this is where it gets so difficult. Look at all these supers coming in through that top lane. When you have 3 open inhibitors, you know, all those super minions are spawning in every lane at the same time. You Baron buff those up, and sometimes you don't even have to fight your opponent because they can't deal with all of the Baroned up super minions that are flooding in here. They have to give so much attention over to this that just allows this rapid fire Caitlyn to poke away at the tower.
Time for the winning push. 10 seconds of Elder Dragon buff. 10 seconds to take this fight,
gone.
and they're going to wait. They're going to block. They're going to let the wave get cleared. They had Elder buff, and they're unwilling to dive onto the turret. They're going to take their time and wait it out and rely on Baron instead. Let mid push in. Let bot push in. Now, mid has respawned, so the double waves aren't coming anymore. It's single waves on the sides from here on out, unless mid can get knocked back down. Shouldn't be hard. They've got Baron, and it's a 5-on-5 with a gold lead, so that's going to get dropped pretty quickly, but they're still going to be respectful. They got to watch for hooks. They got to watch for plays. As Solo's forced to jump back, IgNar could be a target. Solo's actually losing a lot of health. Immune's a bit of the stun, but now hooked right back in. Has to be careful. Flay in for Jensen, flashes to safety, stays alive, goes back to invisibility. Ward comes down, and FlyQuest are defending territory inside the mid lane, waiting for supers, but bot lane has respawned as well. Mid lane is just now sending minions back. And so Solo TP's back down, has the health bar yet again. FlyQuest due to the siege. Still 1:45 on the Red Bull Baron. Looking to knock down yet another inhibitor. Turret number 7, I think, or inhib number 7 on this one is going to be knocked down. Easy grab. Top lane flooding in now as well. Baron buff, 130 to go. Still playing it very, very slow. Very, very safe. Playing TL's own game. Stun's going to land on the Jensen. Go for the stun, go for the hook. Can't quite get it yet. But here comes the pullback on a Solo. Could be a big target. Tries to be immune. Tries to get low. And he will, in fact, drop. Tactical finds the first kill. The 6-item build working out for him. But FlyQuest will siege the 4v5. They have minions to be the 5th man. They have the turrets falling down. They take the fight. They go for the play. Hook's not going to land. Core could have killed WildTurtle, but instead Turtle is free-firing. Goes for Tactical. Trading the blows back and forth. And PoE against 2. Impact to do it all. The minions inside the base. The Nexus is laid bare. He's going to try, but Broxah and Impact are here. Tries to go for the play. Tries to shuffle back, but he's going to run out of health. Team Liquid. Oh, we're going to find one, and the minions are still there. PoE will get aced, but the minions, the 6th man, FlyQuest, while they're all dead, take down